We are live. Hello and welcome. My name is Niver and I am head of charity of Eurofurence. Today I am joined by the wonderful people from CPF, Carmen Ellis and Craig Hove. Sorry, I'm so bad at your name. And thank you. I really cannot do that. My tongue doesn't work like that. And because it's soon World Animal Day as well, and someone told us during last World Animal Day that they really would like to be a meerkat. Thankfully, we have that ability to turn people into meerkats in the very fandom.
Yes.
So I am joined by the wonderful Fabo.
Hi.
Just going to move that over here.
Okay. Hey, hello. I am Tabo. Usually I'm doing the charity auction together with Sniffer, but of course now times are a little bit different. But I heard that you really, really like meerkats. And that's why I'm gonna give you something. I have a little Tabo meerkat badge, a little, maybe if you could...
Souvenir.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Wow.
For you, it's a little pin, so that you can, well, sort of become a meerkat or a member of the big meerkat mob of Eurofurence, right?
Oh, you're getting your own microphone now.
Oh, hey, that's right. Awesome. So this is a
Don't chew on it.
Yeah, please don't.
Oh, no.
The video team is going to yell at me then.
Yeah, because this is the third microphone. I would be devouring then. It's a good thing that I already ate the last one recently. BBF is going to kill me.
Yep.
All right, but I hope you will enjoy it. And thank you very much for being with us on the stream. And yeah, it's if you ever visit us in the future, we are going to work to make sure that you can be a meerkat for at least a little bit. Yes?
Thank you very much.
Thanks for remembering that. I really value that you take note of the small details.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to put that over here. Then someone can sneak in and steal it away.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Hey, have a good one. I'm now
Thank you.
wiggle
Bye-bye.
myself out of the chair.
Take care.
Right. And now that we have done a small, silly introduction from our side, would you please give a short introduction of who you are and what you're actually doing at the CPF, or Cheetah Preservation Foundation?
You go first, Craig.
My name is Craig Huis, and I'm zoological manager. And basically, I have the daunting role of making sure our animal collection is looked after to the best of our abilities. And yeah, and that's from their feeding to their medical care, veterinary care, their routine treatments that are so necessary, as well as their mental health is also a very important part. And then, yeah, trying to keep the staff that work with all the animals motivated as well. Yeah, that's pretty much my role.
Great. Carmen.
The most important role, Craig, and you've got a very large team who look up to you. I mean, you've been a part of the ranch for how many years?
That's 22 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Every day, living and breathing the ranch.
Yeah.
So much respect for you. So my name is Carmen, and so happy to be featured second year around. And we had fun with our guided tour yesterday. I think it was amazing for us to share the ranch with those that only saw a few animals last year. But to get to my function, I'm the manager of the Cheetah Preservation Foundation. We are a division of the Kanga Wildlife Ranch. And firstly, the Kanga Wildlife Ranch draws the public and our volunteers here. And then the Cheetah Preservation is there to teach them about conserving species and endangered species and what we do, not only for animals, but also the environment. So my role is to help share that, to raise funds for whatever our animals need. So it keeps me quite busy every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm actually going to start with the breakfast this morning. we had the pleasure of getting a tiny look into your entire world, your entire process during the mornings. How long does it actually take to go through and do the breakfast and the bonding and caretaking?
Yeah, well, basically, just in that specific section or as a whole?
Could be both.
So the breakfast show basically, it would take probably a team of about 6 to 8 staff. It can take them up to 2 hours to get everything done and ready. The breakfast, I know, was a little bit earlier today, so the staff came in earlier to be able to make sure that everything was done in time.
Okay.
But on a normal day, they would pretty much work from 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock to make sure all the cleaning, checkups, feeding, and all of that has been done. And then there's a bout of documentation that needs to be done. And after that, the bonding and training sessions will commence for the day.
All of the documentation, that is making noting down if there's anything out of the ordinary that you notice?
Absolutely. A very important part of what we do is actually to collect as much data as we can on the animals that are in our care. Not only does this help to keep track on the individuals' stages that they're going through, then we can also map if there's anything that comes to front that could potentially be a big concern, but it also helps us to gather data so that we can contribute to other organizations who possibly sit with animals who have certain situations, and that data can be used to improve the care, not only of the animals at our facility, but also others globally.
Okay, that's very interesting. Oh, damn it, I just lost the question I wanted to ask. You work with a lot of different organizations. Could you mention a couple of these?
It's so difficult to say. We've been in contact with names are so hard for me to think of actually, because we've got the potential to work with over 300 facilities globally. As members of WASA, we do definitely at some point or another communicate with other WASA member institutions. And that can be for enrichment ideas. It can be when, us ourselves are maybe struggling with some conditioning practices for husbandry purposes for the animals. It could be dietary related questions or queries or assistance that we can provide. So, I mean, for me to mention a facility's name would be very difficult.
That's fair, especially if there's so many.
Yeah,
we can mention Volpro. As an entity who help us with our conservation work. They are also situated in South Africa. They do a lot for vultures, but throughout the world. And then also like the Madagascar Fauna and Flora Group, we assist them. That's why we have our lemurs on display. I know that we've recently sent cheetahs to Australia. So we're working with facilities like that, and also New Zealand, who have the same standards and, ethics code as we do. So it's just like Craig said, we work worldwide with facilities where there is a need, where we can change data. And we help the stud book with our radiated tortoise research, as they are critically endangered. And we've had 4 successful babies born here who are kept in one of our enclosures. So we are part of all of that throughout the world.
That's great. You mentioned Madagascar yourself. We had the charity some years ago where we were supporting the lemurs of Madagascar. So we're very much aware of the difficulties and the deforestation that they encounter down there. Oops.
Yes, for sure. So we take that a step further. We know as people working at the ranch, we need to protect them. We've got all the knowledge, we know, but our visitors, they come for a different reason. They come for an activity, an outing, and then that's why we've got what we refer to. So they used to be called guides, but we refer to them as wildlife guardians. And what they do, they take people on this journey. And that's the first step of changing their mindsets and teaching the kids and the adults, listen, it's more than just an activity visiting here. these animals need you to grow up and know that they need protection, they need help, they are more than just cute and move it. There's a lot more to them than just that. And we are grateful to be a part of that.
Yeah, thank you very much for the guided tour yesterday. It was amazing to watch the facility and get that the entire telling of the different kinds of animals, what kind of issues they are facing in the wild, and it was really, really lovely to get on that tour and get an experience of what it is one of your wildlife guardians, sorry, would tell your usual guest at the ranch for.
Yeah, every guided tour, they have to go through all those steps, all that information. We today we've got a long weekend in our country, and right now, as we're sitting here, we've had 500 people walk through our facility today, and our one director just told us that it's the second best day of this whole year since COVID hit. So yeah, it's almost emotional to be able to share this with you guys.
Oh, that's great.
That we could come this far.
Congratulations on your second best day so far.
Yes, yeah. And it's during the EFO, so you are bringing the good stuff, the mojo.
Well, it almost couldn't be better. I was very close. You wouldn't, because there were so many people so busy, close, you wouldn't really be able to make it. So
we have to. This is a priority.
We are very thankful for your putting off some time for us anyway.
Absolutely.
So now you mentioned COVID yourself, and we are now a year later inside all of this. How is it going with the ranch since last time we spoke?
So it's been hard. Firstly, we had to go through a process where they started at a certain level. So we've got a family tree in the business, the level of staff, and our management tried to, we accepted a pay cut, all of us, so that we can not let staff go. That was the first option. And then it didn't work so well because the world keeps putting us on this red list, and our international travel is not where it needs to be. And that's going to be what puts us back on the map and what could help us balance at the end of the month. Because, I mean, we cannot send staff home to work from home. We've got all these animals that need caretaking. And like, if you remember last year, we had staff that was working, that was put on furlough, so they were working without payment. But now we were at a point about 2 months ago where we had to let about eight people. Yeah, we had to retrench 8 people. That was so hard. So all of our assistants had to go, and we basically at a point where we cannot function properly as is. We've got people doing 2 to 3 people's jobs at the moment, but we are still here. Our animals have been fed every single day, and I mean we've still thriving or going forward, surviving on donations. And whenever there's something that we need, we will approach the public. And there's still people that are willing to help us. And just like this was another blessing, hearing that we'll be featured again. And yeah, we had no idea.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. You're so kind. So of course we would like to help you again. And it is a yet another special year, and you need a helping hand or helping paw. Whatever gets stretched out. Wow. I cannot think today. I am very sorry. This is very unprofessional.
Add on to what Carmen has said. It's actually it's been incredibly challenging. In terms of the staff working on the site as well, and everybody can see there's not a lot of people coming in, and I think everybody is very, very nervous of what's going to happen just a month or two from now. And I must say that's where I have to take my hat off to the whole team for holding it together and staying positive as hard as it has been. And, we thought that last year, November, going into December, we've got a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We tried to bring a couple of new things to the table, which is incredibly difficult to do in these challenging times, but just to try and make Kango look a little bit more attractive so that we can actually get a few more people in. And it looked like we were on course. It looked like everything was going to go great. And then a second wave of COVID lockdowns hit the country during the busiest time of our year. And they closed all the beaches around us, which basically decimated our hope of getting some decent income over the December period, which at the end of the day, it plays the major role in our budgets for the projections for the year ahead. So we were not there as well. And, now sitting with about 25% of our current visitor flow, it's a huge obstacle to overcome. But one thing that I can say and that I'm very proud of, and, it goes without saying that it's 98% thanks to Carmen, actually, that we've had money coming in from donors and people that have really been there for us and made it happen, that we can feed our animals the right amount of food, the fresh food, and we haven't compromised on welfare in one little bit up to this point as far as we can help it. And I must say for that, we're just terribly grateful for everybody's support.
Would you please stop tearing up, because it's going to hit me as well. I get it. It is definitely a really, really hard period, and especially when thinking that maybe we're getting out of this tunnel and suddenly getting hit by a second wave, and I don't know if you're going through a third wave at some point or have already hit. When listening to other organizations that very much live off donations or tourists, they're having such a hard time.
Yes.
So,
just up the road from us, we've had multiple companies close up. There's like a zipline activity that just couldn't make it. Even the Kango Caves, which is like one of the wonders of the world, they've had to close up. And I mean, that is one of the major attractions in Oudtshoorn. And our team and our bosses and the owner, with brainstorming and changing prices and putting combos together. I mean, I think one of the hardest things is for them to say, listen, what, we have to retrench people. I think that's on anybody's last, tick on the list. And I have to say they tried the 20 things above, retrenchment. And I mean, I think we are, like Craig said, one thing is like people have different fights in COVID. Some fight for children, some fight for hunger, and our fight is for our animal family. So when they've been fed and looked after every day.
Yeah, I do recall when you mentioned last year, what was mentioned last year, you had people getting furlong, but still came in to assist with taking care of the animals. While going through what has happened the past year, I came across someone who said, it's not a job, it's a passion.
Yes.
And really oh dear, I'm getting emotional as well. when looking at how this is affecting you, just talking about it, even though it's in the past, it's not it's still not just a job. It is a passion. It is something you invest so much of yourself, your time and interest into. And it's just, it is amazing that you have that energy and will to do that and get through this kind of crisis.
Definitely. I mean, if I look at today, just with all these people here, just to give you an idea of our staff and their commitment, we all have to keep going. So we are a little short-staffed, and we've got this amazing day and all these people, and we've got staff who are helping in the kitchen, who are actually our wildlife guardians, and we've got management running around helping, starting off tours, and that's what this is all about. We are not a business, we're a family, and this is what this business was built on. It was a family who came here, and they allow us to have our families here. I've got my daughter helping in the curio shop. She's 10 years old. With her not going to school during COVID, she started learning the ropes here and assisting and helping us. So I think that's what it is. It's a family, an extended family, giving what they've got.
Yeah, you very much when going through everything, everything is family. It is not just a co-worker, it's a family. It's the animals are your family as well. You are so tight, everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. But right, I'm going to take a moment to try to promote one of your things that you actually launched in May, I believe it was, the 50 Fund, because I think it's very well exemplify what is actually needed to get everything running, what is needed to get all of the various animals fed and so on. So for everyone who have not seen it, they launched this 50 Fund campaign in May, which basically says, right, for 50 Rand, we are
50 of your currency. Yes, but it can be dollar, rand. Yes.
But the idea was for 50 Rand, you're able to do various kind of thing, and the idea is donate 50 of your currency, and
yes.
for euros, for example, 50 euros after a crisis again, it can be a bit tall. But instead, so we kind of took what does 50 Rand actually equals to in euros, and that is about 3 euros. So for 3 euros, you are able to feed a cheetah for a day. You are able to feed a lemur, I believe it was lemur, for a day, and give what is it called? Watermelons to the pygmy hippos. There, you have a list of examples what it actually means, and it's really not much more than that to actually make a difference. You mentioned right before we streamed that what was it? 32,000 Rand was collected so far over the event. Which is just below 2,000 euros in total when converted. I haven't checked how many cheetah meals that equals to, but it is going to help you a long way, as long as with all of the other animals that you're able to help and feed and take care of. So if anyone is would like to help the cheetahs, either go to Discord, the Discord channel, or the charity channel there, where you can find the donation link. You can also find information, a bit more information about their Donate a Hero program, where you are able to sponsor one of their animals, or direct payment, bank transfer if you want to, a different amount. If you are on Twitch, you can do !donate, and you will get the donation details as well. So help us feed the cheetahs. They need it, even though it sounds like everything is going better at the ranch. Oh, you are smiling a bit. Okay, but
I can explain.
In any case, we can help it maybe get better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so apart from today, which it being a public holiday, and because people have been restricted, we just recently came out of level 3 again. That was our third wave that we've just come through. People want to travel, so that's why we are flooded. But the moment the weekend is over, we currently stuck in a situation where we have some days only 8 visitors arriving. And then if that visitor pays 180 Rand per person, you can do the sum. That's not going to bring us very far. So that is what, keeps creating this backlog, because, I mean, every day our animals need feeding, whether we get the funding we need or not. So the idea with the 50 fund was to actually ask people, because it's such a small amount, to see if they can commit to monthly to be more sustainable. Then we know, listen, there's a set 30,000 Rand coming in and it will cover these costs. And, that's something less to worry about.
Yeah, indeed. It's always better to have a recurring thing than just a one-time donation. Gives a lot more security.
Every bit helps. Yeah.
Everything helps indeed, and we're here. We're trying to help you just a tiny bit here in the darkness, even though there's very bright light.
Yeah, I was going to say it's all lit up from where we're sitting.
Completely, I'm getting blinded over here. So, but the past year hasn't been entirely doom and gloom. There has been some small spots of light as well. You were so lucky to have, for example, a cheetah cub's live birth caught on camera. That is amazing.
Yeah, we definitely.
Yes, yeah. No, that was truly special. It's something we've been wanting to try for quite some time. And we have to make sure we have the right female with the right personality who would actually tolerate something new like a camera inside her night quarters, and at the same time that it won't make her nervous, because they can be sensitive in that sense. And then, of course, the carnivores have a tendency of being naughty, and then they can chew things up as well. So we had to battle all those obstacles. And we were fortunate enough to have the right camera as well.
Yes.
And it was really remarkable footage. And it was very, very good for us to learn from as well, because there were a couple of things that we noted on that video that we had never thought happens in that sequence. So, yeah, it was very good.
So it's actually really difficult to catch.
Yes,
no, absolutely. It's a shot in the dark. Firstly, we don't know when she's going to give birth. We also don't know where she's actually going to settle and lie. So we were basically just monitoring certain signs and hoping that what we were reading was correct. And based on the information that she was giving us, we knew more or less where we're going to place the camera, and then just hope that she would go lie in front of it, which she did. And made it happen for us. Yeah.
How is it going with all of the cubs?
They're actually doing really well. It's a litter of 5, and 4 of them are actually, who Carmen mentioned, have gone to Australia. They've gone to remarkable institutions there. And so they actually left earlier this week, and they're actually settling in their new home quite comfortably. Yeah.
So they're nearly a year old soon.
Yes, yeah. And Valora, the female, she's with us still, and doing really, really well.
Oh, that's good to hear. What about the last cub? That's going to stay?
Yes, yeah, she'll most likely stay. Yeah, we carefully monitor the genetic potential for those individuals in our in-house population, and obviously, if their value by us is not as strong as what their value would be at another institution, they would be candidates to rather go and participate in another institution where their role can have more purpose.
A bigger impact,
And a bigger impact,
Yeah. It sounds like there's a lot of work trying to figure out where is the best place to have the next litter, the next cup.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a lot of thinking that has to go into it. At this stage, we also monitor things very carefully as to how the trends are looking in terms of business. We obviously don't want to be doing anything irresponsibly. And then we also need to make sure that we've got the capacity to be able to responsibly care for that litter once they are here, which with staff reductions and that sort of thing, it is something that we have to consider carefully. We've never bred cheetahs to breed many cheetahs. Our purpose has always been to breed healthy cheetahs with a healthy purpose. And any institution that we would work with that would require cheetahs would have a long checklist that they'd have to check. And if we can't inspect that institution ourselves, we'll definitely do very good research before our animals going there.
Yeah. I have a question from Token. Hi, Token. How do you balance your life between the ranch and private life, if you have any?
You don't really, to be honest. No, I must say I've been fortunate on my side that I've been here for so long. Anybody coming into my life, I think they sort of know that it's something I'm very passionate about. It's a lifestyle, and it's what I do, and. I do feel bad sometimes because the loved ones closer to me more than often do get the shorter end of the stick. But that's an ongoing thing that we just always try and work on and improve on. Let me put it to you that way.
I can imagine that could be difficult at times. Again, especially during the past year. As you said, you have your child working as well, Carmen.
Yes, so just to put you in the picture of, we also get our leave days, but with COVID and fighting for the ranch and letting staff go, we've had to put in extra hours. Even with pay cuts, there's been no, time off. But because it is rather quiet now and we've come this far and we know and hope that the ranch will survive, we are taking our leave, but it's good. It feels good to have that time off. And they always say, rest before quitting. And I think it's good for all of our management to have gone through that process. We've all had a bit of a rest before we hit December, and we're hoping that we'll be very tired and working very hard. But me, on a personal note, so I do work weekends, but then I have like the next weekend to look forward to, and I've got 2 kids and my husband, and we make time to braai or barbecue. It's just not the same, but we try to spend some quality time. But what makes this facility great is, like with COVID, when I had to work and my kids couldn't go to school, they could actually be here. We've got a room, a creche or a little school area where they can be with us. So I think that even though, like, our bosses know we have to put in the hours, but they also provide an environment where we can include our families and they can come here and be with us. So I think that does bring the balance into our lives, yeah.
Okay, at least some kind of balance.
Yeah, sort of.
Well, another thing that has happened the past year, you have got new animals. Not just childbirth, cub birth, but new animals to the ranch as well.
Yes, yeah. We've received some unexpected animals, and then also our sloths have arrived.
Some arrangements that started before we knew COVID would hit us.
Yeah, sloths. We were hoping to get sloths actually about 2 to 3 years ago, and so the ball started rolling long in advance before COVID hit us, and to make sure that we can secure the animals and that they will have a safe journey this way. A lot of that was in place already. And so they've arrived, and our sloths are now home in our temple at this stage. We were hoping to build another enclosure upon their arrival, but that all fell flat as COVID hit. So at least they're in a good spot now and have a good home. And hopefully as soon as this is all over, we can look at building a really nice exhibit for some of those animals.
They looked at least like they were enjoying themselves during the tour yesterday.
They are. They're happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people adore them. I think because they're such slow animals, supposedly, actually seeing them in action and when they eat, it's quite a different experience. And it's something you don't see often. So it's also a drawing card. And the owner, I mean, he's an entrepreneur. You always have to think forward. You have to get new people here and you have to get the old visitors back again. So he tried like once a year or twice a year to add something new to, our family tree. And just to get the people, excited. So we're always still also in that frame of mind. We have that responsibility, and it has to also be fun and attractive, but, mainly taking care of the animals and giving them a good home.
Of course, that is, of course, the most important thing. How long does it actually take to arrange getting a new type of animal?
It depends. I mean, it can take up to a year or even longer, because obviously you want to try and make sure that you support the right initiatives and the right efforts. And there's often a lot of hoops that you'd have to go through in order to get them here in terms of paperwork and permitting and secure transporting and all that sort of thing. So it can take quite a lot of time, and there's also a lot of planning that has to go into it. And generally things like that wouldn't happen the way that they have happened with our sloths, for example. The plan was to actually start another section of our institution where we can actually raise awareness and highlight the plight of South America and the Amazon and the big challenges that they face there, and bring that part of the struggles out in natural environments to our local people, and to assist and raise funds which can be used to contribute back into that area. So that was the whole plan. And then COVID got the better of us. But it can take quite some time to secure animals.
And even in a normal animal transaction, there's quarantine as well, quarantine times that are added. So, and inspections and everything that are part of the process.
Yeah, I got a question about the Sponsor a Adopt program. If you were to sponsor an animal, how much would it roughly be? And if you came down to the ranch, is it possible to see it, or is it too dangerous? Okay,
so we had quite a few people in the EFO last year that after the program or the convention ended, they did sponsor an animal.
Thank you very much for that.
So, that was amazing. And the fun part is, so they deal with me. I send them photos and updates, and they have the opportunity in a year from now. So your payment is once off, and it's basically for a year. And supporting that specific animal. They get pictures and everything. So if you were to travel and come visit us in South Africa and you've done the sponsorship, you will be able to come and see them. Depending on the animal, if it's a lemur, you will most likely interact with him or her. The same with our cheetahs. So there are limits depending on the animal. Like our pygmy hippos, you'll see them from a distance, but you won't get too close to them. And there's different categories. So we've got our larger animals, our tigers with our lions and our cheetahs. In Rand value, it's 3,600 Rand to adopt them. It's a once-off payment, and you help us to take care of them. That money covers looking after their enclosure, any vet bills, feeding, etc. And then the amount just gets less as the animals are also smaller and in different categories. So I don't know, I'm sure you've got our information, CPF at kango.co.za, where if they want to do that, they can contact me.
Yeah, it would be very easy to find the can't speak anymore. Contact information, and
Yes.
if they can't find them themselves, I will gladly help them.
Thank you. I know you will.
Yeah, it should be easy. I have basically the Kango website hot link bookmarked at this moment, so I can easily find everything.
Yeah, we've seen a few names that got onto our live stream of people that have volunteered here, and then they were already existing adopters or sponsors. So, and it's amazing to see how this convention helps grow that group. And I can honestly say we received such great support after the event last year.
That is another important part. One thing is, of course, getting the donation. Another thing is getting the awareness out. If people don't know about you, they don't know how they can help you. If it either be just spreading the word about you, or if it's actually donating or volunteering. And speaking of, you have a volunteer program, so people can actually come down to the ranch whenever the travel permits. And help you out.
That's right, yes. So Futeku is a good example, one of your convention members. He's visited us, I think we're on year number 7. And just last year, we didn't see him. So then they visit and they form part of our volunteer program. They get to go out and do activities, but every day they function with our caregivers, with our animal department, and they do the daily routines. They help with enrichment. And I think actually this year, Futeko is coming as an intern where it's a bit different and where there's a lot more involved. Craig might be able to give you some information about that.
Yeah, the intern program runs together with the volunteer program, but it gives them more in-depth sort of experience on how to coordinate various sections within the department. So quite often our internships, they do pay a little bit of a higher fee, but then they actually follow the section curators and they spend their days with them. So then they would also be able to go with for vet procedures and really get into the logistics of running the operation and really taking care not only of the people, but also of the animals, but also the people that take care of the animals. And the skill set of our curators makes it possible for them to also have a bit more of an in-depth look of what goes on behind the scenes when it comes to the management of the animals' care. And this is especially really helpful for, we've had students who come in, they study animals in some or other form, and this internship actually helps them get necessary points for them to be able to get their diplomas or certificates, and it also gives people an opportunity to get a foot in the door at a recognized institution. So should they want to work at sort of a like-minded facility at home, this experience helps in a big way to give them a foot in the door there as well.
That is really good information, because I know there are many people that really like to have a dream of working with animals at some point. So that could be a good way into it.
Yes, so you have to do a minimum of 2 weeks when you do a booking. You'll also find that information quite easy on our website. And I mean, we've got most of our volunteers who return because it just does so much for you, being a part of the hard work, I would say, the daily routine, and you're part of our staff and doing exactly and there's just a bigger respect for what we do once you volunteer, because you get to see what it takes.
Yeah, you're not just someone standing over the corner sweeping. You are actually actively helping.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Making a difference.
Even though we do a lot of sweeping. Yeah.
A lot of sweeping, a lot of poop scooping, a lot of...
Let's not forget the reality.
Having with animals is not all gold and green forests.
No.
No.
And in case you, for all of those, at least on Twitch, I know that Futeko is listening in on the conversation there. So if he haven't already made himself known, you can poke him there. And I am sure, I am just speaking on his behalf right now, that he would answer questions about how the life as a volunteer actually is.
Yeah. It would be great, yeah. He's got the best experience, definitely.
Exactly, having an insider, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
I get another question from VC Wolf. Cats are mostly solitary and they do not recognize strength, but if they recognize you as their own, then you become friend, part of the family. Have you had such an experience?
Sorry, can you repeat that one?
Cats. So I think
Cats are mostly solitary and they do not recognize strangers, sorry. But if they recognize you as their own, then you become friends and part of the family. Have you had such an experience?
Absolutely. There's actually recently I had an experience which I think can relate to that. My previous role was to work with the carnivores. And so obviously when I moved into this position, they got a new carer, a new curator, Tamlin, and it was actually really sad for me. Now, after 2 years, I go over to Greystone and none of the cats recognize me anymore. So I would be asked, oh, just go put some cream on that one or just do something there. And I get there and the cat's not having it. But there's one cheetah in specific. Her name is Lizzie. Lizzie's now 11 years old. And she hasn't worked with me for 2 years and or hasn't seen me often at all. But Lizzie is still, to this day, I had to go fix her collar when Tamlin was not here. And she asked me if I could try. And I went in, and Lizzie, after 2 years, is not liking anybody else. And she still comes to me and allows me to work with her. Even the people that she sees every day, she sort of ignores and keeps her distance. So that was a really special moment, and I think something that definitely can relate to that. And also the individual aspect of all the animals that we work for. You know, it's easy to say I work with cheetahs, but to recognize that I work with 35 different individuals is a whole different ball game.
Yeah, they're not just cheetahs. They are really individuals.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
Also, it's amazing that the bond stays that long after. But that was it sounded like that was kind of one-off because you need to keep up the bond to be able to do all of the things that you need to do to care for them. Absolutely.
There's a few cats that I had a good relationship with, and I can see that relationship has definitely taken a downward spiral, if I can put it that way, and I can see what's really heartwarming as well is the way that through hard work and dedication, those cats are now showing that same love and respect towards Tamlin, the new carer.
Oh, that's good.
And it's daily commitment, daily caretaking, daily bonding. It's not just once a week. It's an everyday thing.
Yeah. And when you've got 70 animals in your section, it's not the easiest thing to do. Yeah.
There is a lot that has to be done there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also saw during the breakfast that the caretakers was playing around with the cats. Made it look almost like your regular house cat, just a larger size.
It looks like it though, but the damage can be more if you're not careful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sorry, continue.
No, yeah, it definitely is a game, but it's a very necessary game for them to be played with in that sense. They might have touched base on that as well this morning, but they have to get that exercise, that stimulation, and just to ensure a much happier and a healthier animal. Yeah.
That takes a good chunk of your day as well to ensure all of that.
Yeah, terrible part of the job, I must say.
Oh, damn. Now I have to play with the cheetah again. Poor me. I think
Have to go listen to them purr.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard a lot of that during the morning. Oh, that was fantastic. Just this giant, massive purr just directly into the microphone and onto us.
Yeah, no, that's the best part. That's what I think creates that need to go and make a difference in the world, where like I said again, we feel that way because we work with them and there's a bond. But our visitors, that's all they need. They need those 5 minutes to go in there, look them in the eye, listen to that purr, and be moved towards helping us, do what we do. And that's why it's such an essential part of what we do here, is to give visitors that opportunity. We can't overlook that. It's the purpose. We can make a difference, but our difference is so much bigger when 500 people that have been here can go out and spread the message. And I know you'll agree.
Yeah. It's also amazing for us to get a glimpse behind what actually goes into taking care of all these. Because if we as visitors just came to the ranch, of course we would listen to your guardians and watch the animal from afar. But getting this behind the scenes look is fantastic. There's not really anything to describe it. I get that close to these majestic animals.
Yeah. No, I think that's why we can recommend the volunteer program specifically for, this crowd, because it's animal loving people and they've got that passion and they also want to make a difference. And that would be an extremely good way to do that.
Indeed. You also had you mentioned, of course, there's a lot of things that doesn't really stop because of COVID. You mentioned, for example, all of the feeding and such. Injuries also happen. Animals have to go to medical facilities or getting looked at. Have you had any major things the past year?
Taji?
Yeah. It was just before COVID hit. We had a tiger that needed an eye operation, and the only specialist that she could go to was near Cape Town. That was one big one. We've had another tiger that ended up getting very ill. She stopped eating for quite some time, which is usually a very big red flag. And it was actually a bittersweet one because, we took her in. We were extremely worried. And after all, it seems like she just had a serious case of the bloat. So once she got rid of the gas, she actually bounced back to normal quite nicely. But it was quite an extensive procedure in order to get her going.
Oh, okay.
Sorry?
I just said okay.
Okay. And then, we've had bats with eye injuries. We've now got a cheetah who's been getting recurring sort of urinary tract infections. And she now also needs to be checked out by a specialist. And we're actually taking her through on the 28th. She's going to the same specialist in Paarl again. So, it's very challenging when you sit with procedures like these that need to be done because they also don't come cheap. For example, this strip of raven, I think we costed in at about 30,000
Rand, yes.
30,000 Rand just for that procedure. It definitely does put a spanner in the works. But again, thanks to all our supporters and for Carmen's hard work, we managed to get those through and get the job done.
Yeah.
Her sponsor actually said, you know what, I don't want you to worry. another second about this. I've got your back and I'll pay for this procedure, because he knows that we are taking care of them. And like you said, these are animals just like any human being, and like children, they get hurt, things go wrong. I mean, just that simple procedure with Ronnie, the tiger, was 6,000 Rand. But that doesn't stop us. We don't leave them in agony. We don't leave them in pain. We get them the help they need, and we worry about how we're going to pay for it later, because they are so important to us. Yeah.
Yeah. And looking at a sick animal goes directly to the heart. It's awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have another question, again from Perik. Do the fast runners get opportunity to exercise that, or are just not possible due to limitation of space? In general, do they get to exercise their high speed, even though they only can maintain that for a short while?
Yeah, well, look, getting them to run at 120 kilometers an hour is quite challenging. They don't really have the ability to reach that full speed within the spaces that we have for them. That's why we make use of lures and toys and balls, especially to get them to chase. Something that we do like to make use of, we can't necessarily get them to run in a straight line always, but we've got something that you call a jolly egg. So it's got a very rounded end on this side and a more pointed end on this side. So when you throw it, it mimics how a hare or a rabbit would bounce, through the bushes if a cheetah chases it, or how a springbok would maneuver itself. So you get that sort of agility out of them. And we've got ways of doing tug of war to also help with some strength training. Climbing poles is also one of the things that really helps a lot. We make use of that in our big cat enclosures, where you actually, like our leopard, for example, she loves it. She's got a 4 or 5 meter pole inside her enclosure. We place food up at the top there, and then she would jump up to the top to go and fetch it. And so we exercise them in those ways. We've got plans going forward to hopefully do a sort of a running system for our cheetahs. It's another development that we've sort of been waiting for the last couple of years to just improve our cheetah centers. And once that ball is rolling, then we certainly should have a nice lure system for our cheetahs. And like you said, though, even though they are the fastest mammals on Earth, they also are some of the laziest animals on Earth. So that's why a lot of effort that we put in as well doesn't only go into the exercise that we can manage, but also ensuring the best dietary requirements needed for optimal health.
Oh, I just saw the video feed and it was cutting a bit funny, so I was just sure what they're doing. Sorry. Got another question. We have seen that, I know from my own country that some animals are able to catch COVID, like minks, for example. Has there been any reports like this for any of the animals that you have in your care?
Yeah, it's something that we've been very mindful of from the beginning, and my senior manager, Narendra, has been extremely good at tracking all those sort of cases across the world. So globally, there have been tigers that get it, animals like mustelids, so your otters, your meerkats, those guys are all prone to be able to get COVID. So we pretty much manage our visitors and our staff as if it's possible for all our animals to get COVID. So that's why we've, and another obstacle with that, sorry if I can add, is alcohol sanitizer, when consumed, is also quite poisonous for some of our animals. So, so now you've got to try and get everybody to sanitize, but now you've got to use a sanitizing product that will also not be harmful to the animals on top of that. But yeah, our visitors all have to wear masks. They have to sanitize and screen prior to getting in here, and the same goes for all of our staff. And it has proven to be another challenging thing, because if anybody has any cold-like symptom, which, as we know, is very common. People get colds. Some people get them really often. Then they've got to go home, and we've got to wait for any more symptoms to appear or for them to get better. Then they can head back. But I can definitely say there's not been a COVID case at our facility, and
that's great.
I think in a big way that's due to our visitors listening to us, and when we go up to them and say, sorry, you've got to put your mask on, they've been fairly tolerant of that, and I think all of that has helped us to keep our animals safe.
Everyone wants to return to normal again, whatever normal is going to be after all of this.
It is, yeah.
That's good to hear. You haven't really had to suffer a lot of people not being able to come in because of COVID.
Yes, yeah, it's just luckily our animals are all kept safe. We even have a foot bath where feet are sanitized, and it's really very strict. We do a spray down throughout the day, and just to keep them all safe. And we've had a lot of our staff vaccinated. So we're trying whatever we can to move forward from this.
I'm getting warnings that we are getting close to the end. So I'm actually going to pick up a question that is more of the possibly brighter end. The past year, what is the greatest moment for you? What is the best that you think back and say, this is what I want to remember from all of this?
I think, well, personally, for me, it is when you see the ranch functioning as it should. And today is actually one of those days. It has been so incredible. It was actually my off day today. And I came driving in and had to look for a parking spot. And that was just so heartwarming. I got goosebumps then, and I'm getting goosebumps now talking about it. Because the first thing that goes through your mind is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Visitors don't just mean money for us. Visitors means change for us. And it means the purpose that we have as a facility can continue. And without the visitors, nothing that we do is possible at the end of the day. And I know today is one of those days for me personally. And then also early on in the year, there was another big day when the park was nice and busy. For me, that's when it comes full circle. And there's been millions of moments where you stare at an animal and look at it and you just see it happy, and you know that we're walking this road together.
That's good to hear. And Carmen, do you have a fun one as well?
Obviously when COVID hit and we were in dire straits, just seeing how people reached out to us, and I think that is just number one. And people coming here and thanking us for being here. Some don't even realize what we've had to go through. Today we've had numerous families thanking us for surviving, who didn't even know our struggle, but those that did opened up their hearts and their pockets for us, and to be a part of that. And it's just humbled me, and I can only be grateful for what I've seen and been a part of.
Great, thank you very much. Remember, everyone, donate. Even a small amount goes a long way to help these people. It has been an absolutely pleasure hosting you again. I am so looking forward to hopefully see you in physical next year.
That'll be great.
Travel permits and everything. My name was Sniffer. I was joined by Carmen and Craig from the CPF. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Meerkat.
I would like to turn around the laptops, but I can't really. I'm not going to mess with this.